Welcome into the NBA Morning Deuce. Monday, January 4th, 2021. Second episode of 2021. First full deuce of 2021. Alex is back in the building. For those of you who are listening and not watching and can't see his face, he is back off of his day on location working for the man. He's back, Alex.
Yeah.
Look, things might not have been good yesterday, but things are good for Philly today because that Sixers team you guys got going up there is looking pretty decent.
They're looking good, and it's so messed up. I find myself in like self-protection mode. Like I'm trying actively not to get my hopes up, or I'll just go wild here. I mean, best record in the NBA.
Yeah,
maybe the best defense in the NBA. I'm tempering everything, and it's tough.
And I talked about this a lot yesterday on my solo deuce. We're 10% of the way through the season.
10%.
10%. That's
10%.
a big. That's,
well, 9.2, I believe. 9 point.
Well, whatever. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a big. We had what was today? 9-game NBA slate. You know what the NBA stands for, right, Alex?
National Basketball Association.
No.
Oh, really?
National Blowout Association. You get it?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of blowouts.
It keeps
today.
happening.
It is 11:33 on the East Coast. There is one game of the 9 still going on, and it's a blowout. The Warriors are blowing out the Kings one night after Steph Curry has a career high and the season high in the NBA, and what might be the season high for the entire year of 62 points. He had 21 in the first half, 24 in the first half.
I saw 21, yeah.
Yeah, and that game's still going on. But of the 8 that finished, 6 of them were double-figure wins. So a lot of blowouts to talk about. But before we get to blowouts, let's talk about the biggest win of the night. The best team in New York, the New York Knicks, beat the Atlanta Hawks to win their 4th in their past 5. And let's look, we could talk about, it's early in the year, 4 or 5, whatever. But let's not forget now, 3 of those 4 was a blowout over the Bucks, a win over a very good Pacers team who's now 5-2, and this Hawks team who just beat the Nets and put up 141 on the Nets. The Knicks might be the real deal.
So we keep talking about, it's early.
Eventually it's not going to be.
Right. We're close to it not being early anymore, if that makes sense.
Well, we talked about how, I think probably mentioned last week, how normally in a season, you probably wait till around game 20 to really say like what a team is, but now there's 10 less games, so it's probably somewhere around game 15.
So we're just about halfway to your 15-game mark, this being the Knicks' 7th game. Man, I just don't know. Like, this team right now is playing great basketball. That I don't even think it's undeniable. But I'm just worried about sustainability.
They're playing great defense.
Okay.
They have a player who is playing great basketball in Julius Randle. I can't even say they're playing great basketball because I watch their games and I'm like, man, this team's still not great, but they're playing very competitive basketball.
Okay, all right, there, yeah. Scratch great from the record, and slot in very competitive basketball.
Yeah.
I am worried about the minutes here, and I know these are NBA players. 43 minutes from Julius Randle. But that's like every night, it seems like, with this guy.
I'll tell you why it doesn't matter. Because this team's not supposed to be good. So, and most of these guys, other than maybe RJ Barrett, and I guess Obi Toppin when he comes back and quickly, like the majority of these guys are not really even supposed to be like the core of the team going forward. Like maybe Julius Randle now that they see what he is, but I mean like this team's not supposed to be good. So I think you just run these dudes into the ground, see what you got. Try to make a playoff run.
Well, don't we talk about the human element on the show all the time? Come on, they're just guys. You can't be running Julius Randle out there 43 minutes. Although, let's see if he can do it. Maybe he's up for
if
it.
Julius Randle's getting 28, 17, and 9, I don't think he's going to care that he's playing 43 minutes.
I mean, right now if you had to end the season right now, he's an all-star. Like it's.
But you know what's really funny about You know what's really funny, though, about the minutes thing, too, with Thibodeau, right? Who was the guy that everyone... He was, like, outside of Derrick Rose. But the Derrick Rose thing was a freak thing, right? Obviously, all of his injuries were a freak thing. But the guy that it really, really came to a head with about the minutes was Jimmy Butler. And everyone was like, look how many minutes he plays Jimmy Butler. He plays Jimmy Butler 45 minutes a game. He plays... But now, Jimmy Butler is with Miami. Heat culture. Wakes up at 3 a.m. to work out. Works harder than everybody.
Like he wakes up at 3 a.m. to work out?
That was like the whole thing when he got to Miami, that he was like waking Tyler Hero up and they were working out at 3 in the morning.
I don't think that's... I mean, you need your
right.
sleep.
But I'm just saying, like, maybe it really wasn't that big of a deal. Like, maybe the minute... Like, if you look at the best players in the NBA, they all play a lot of minutes. And I know it's going down. Like, it has gone down a little bit over the years, but these guys, there's no one on this team that has earned the right to be like, I can't play 43 minutes.
No, I'm not saying they anything about earning the right or like that they should be upset. I just don't know if come game 65 that the Knicks are going to look anything like this if they're like fatigued out the...
Well, I don't think come... I mean, look, this would have been a perfect topic for yesterday's overreaction show. Come game 65, this is probably not a playoff team.
Right.
If we're being realistic, but I don't think it's because of the minutes. I think it's just because ultimately they're not talented outside of Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. Actually, over the last 2 games, he had 25 last game and now 26 tonight against the Hawks. So he's starting to look better. Quickly played again and quickly looked great. Knicks fans on Twitter, they love Quickly.
They do. Yeah, they really do. My buddy, my Knicks fan buddy, loves Quickly. I kind of wish he would stop talking about him, but
they love Quickly. Kendrick Perkins tweeted about Peyton Pritchard, who we'll talk about in a bit, and all the Knicks fans were in the comments like, "What about Quickly?" It's not about Quickly. It's about Pritchard.
They're really not that.
By the way, I haven't started it yet, but I texted you what I'm going to do with Kendrick Perkins, right? This is totally off subject, but I'm going to get him to engage with me because I realized, seeing his tweets, he's literally just Magic Johnson in the tone of a 36-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, Magic Johnson gets crushed on Twitter for being like, LeBron James had 30 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists tonight. A triple-double in a win. like, you know what I'm saying? But then Kendrick Perkins says, like, that boy Peyton Pritchard had 28 and 6. I said he was a sleeper. Carry on. Like, what? Like, it's the same thing. He just says it in a different tone, and everyone's like, oh, Perk's what a presence.
Swamp Thing, dude. Gotta love it.
No, what was the...
Moose pussy. I just spit all over my screen when I said that because I was laughing. It's the stupidest nickname I've ever heard. But
anyways, no, look, the only reason I'm making such a... I will say, partially the reason why I'm making such a big deal over the Knicks winning 4-5 and being 4-3 right now is also because the Nets are already... One of my overreactions on the show yesterday was that the Knicks are like a game or two away from full-on panic mode.
Nets.
Or excuse me, the Nets. Yeah. So the Knicks have won 4 of 5. The Nets have lost 4 of 5. And that's why every time when the Nets are losing, if this Knicks team is winning games, it puts even more pressure on the Nets because everything. I mean, it's just, you know, they're going to have pressure for if they lose games anyways. But so watching the Knicks win it's more fun to see them win. First of all, I like Thibodeau. I like Julius Randle. This is the Julius Randle I thought we'd have last year. It's fun to see the Knicks be good for the NBA. It for some reason, still can't really put your finger on it, but they are one of like the flagship organizations, even though they've been awful forever. But the added bonus of the Nets and all that is fun. Hawks, not a huge deal here. Like this. If the Knicks were not playing as well as they're playing, you might say, oh, well, the Hawks blew it. But, you know.
Yeah, it was a close game.
I think it's a testament to the Knicks playing really good defense right now. They're 8th in the league in defensive rating.
Mm-hmm. To hold the Hawks to 108 is very impressive. I mean, that number right there is like tells you how hard they're playing. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it is very important that we label all this stuff as overreactions or just acknowledge.
I mean, it's not an overreaction. They're playing well. 4 or 5, and not just the fact that they're winning games, it's who they've beaten.
Yeah.
You know? blowout over the Bucks, the Pacers, and now the Hawks. I mean, those are three teams. Three. If you were gonna predict your playoffs right now, that's three of the top 6 teams in the East.
Agreed.
Right, that they just beat. So it's not an overreaction to say they're playing very good and very competitive. It would be an overreaction to say what I labeled this video with a question mark and what I've been thinking in my mind, which is Knicks are the best team in New York.
I think that's an overreaction, especially because our first overreaction episode, I think we came out with the Nets are the best team in the East. So
well, the Nets, yeah, but that was before. That was after
right.
2 games when the Nets were playing defense.
Right.
They have essentially stopped playing defense.
Yeah, they're done with defense,
which actually is good because that brings us to the next topic, which is Kevin Durant is going to miss the next 4 games. So the Knicks are 4-3. The Knicks have won 4 of their last 5. The Nets, on the other hand, have lost. I discussed this pretty extensively yesterday on the show, so we don't have to go crazy on how they're playing. But the Nets have lost 4 of their last 5 games. Kyrie Irving in his past 3 games has been awful, like atrociously inefficient from the field. And now they don't have Kevin Durant for 4 games. They luck out a little bit on the back end of this 4 games because the first 2 games they play Utah and Philly. So I'm marking those down as losses. So that's going to be 3-6 for the Nets. Then they have the Thunder and the Grizzlies, who might right now be the 2 worst teams in the NBA. So, without John Morant, obviously. Yep. So this is a really wild stretch for the Nets. Like, I think it actually, I really wanted to see them play against Utah and Philly with Kevin Durant. Like, I wanted to see what happened here on the verge of a early season panic. Now, if you lose these next 2 games, you don't have Kevin Durant. You're like, okay, guys, when we get KD back, we're going to be okay. And ultimately, with KD, they're probably going to be okay. But, if you lose like 4 in a row and start the season 3-6 and you're the Nets, and
then you roll in there that your second best player is a certified head case.
and
you're out of control.
And your probably 4th best player's out for the year. And Spencer Dinwiddie.
Mm-hmm.
Not good. And I talked about it yesterday on the show. It's like there's comparisons being made all over the place with this team, right? Like we compared them to the Warriors a little bit, right? And first-year head coach, former player. But like the Warriors, when Steve Kerr took over, were already a pretty good team. And he just polished them into what they were. But also, historically, first ballot Hall of Fame coaches are not very good. So it'll be interesting to see how Steve Nash handles failure if they're not playing well in his first year as a coach. Like, how does he handle this? We don't know because he's never even been an assistant coach. And then also, like, you could point to, like, LeBron's team. I mentioned this yesterday, too. You could point to how LeBron's teams tend to struggle when they first get put together. But as good as KD is, he's not LeBron. He's just not that. I don't think he is. So it's going to be really... I wonder if they make a panic move and trade for James Harden. How amazing would that? What if they start 3-7 and Kyrie is just sucking and they're like, all right, we've seen enough of Kyrie. Send him on down to Houston.
Because I would have to be a huge prick about how correct I was that he was not going to be.
That's true. I did mention you on my solo deuce yesterday about.
I got to listen to it.
You've been banging the drum about how the Nets would struggle. But I didn't know that it would happen this quickly. It may not be happening. It may just be a tough stretch. But it's not like they're playing the hardest schedule right now. I mean, it's the Hawks
and fine. Yeah.
But so that's even more of a concern, right? They're not playing the toughest teams and they're losing games because they don't play defense. So I think the moral of the whole thing is the Knicks are the best team in the East. I mean, in New York.
In the Big Apple?
In the Big Apple, not in the East. Not in the East. That's because that distinction at the moment is the Philadelphia 76ers.
Can you believe it? Can you believe this?
Yeah, what a time to be alive, right?
Unbelievable. If I'm going to make one definitive statement about the NBA right now, it is Sixers are a lot better than the Hornets, okay? They've stomped them out. in
Well,
two consecutive games here.
yeah. Well, they've beaten this. I saw they've beaten the Hornets 13 games in a row.
Yeah, they're just yeah. The Hornets, I think, are a team that are going to have a decent amount of wins this year because they're going to beat bad teams. But the Hornets, they're not a good team. I'm pretty comfortable saying that. They're just Bismack Biyombo, man. I mean, he's brutal.
Awful.
He's absolutely brutal offensively.
He is one of the worst offensive players in NBA history.
Gordon Hayward's not a max player anymore. He just isn't. And Terry Rozier, Devontae Graham, pretty good. I'm still low on LaMelo. They're just not very good.
I like that kid. He's gonna be good, man.
But to get to the Sixers, I told you I'm tempering my hopes. The number one thing I'll say about the Sixers is that their schedule has not been difficult at all, right?
No, it hasn't. That's one of my. You hate to say that because they are playing really good. And
yeah, they're playing great.
It's not their fault that their schedule has been easy and they're doing what they got to do. But yeah, their schedule they haven't played any of the top tier teams yet.
So before the show, you said you were going to lay something on me, something brutally honest about
the
Sixers.
Well, not yet. Okay. Not honest. I was going to ask you a question.
Okay.
But they do have. But look, watching them play now, even in the NBA, when you play mediocre teams, holding them to 101 points, having the best defense in the NBA, is not like an easy thing to do. Like, it's easy when you're better and more talented to outscore a team.
Yeah.
For example, Nets 145, 141 over the Hawks, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not easy every night to go out and play lockdown defense every single night. And right now, the Sixers by far have the best defense in the NBA, and when Embiid's on the floor, it's even better. Like his on-off splits right now, like their defensive rating's like 99.7. When he's on the floor, it's like 96.1 or something like that. Which is why yesterday one of my overreactions was if they keep winning games and they are like a top 2 or 3 seed in the East, he's legitimately gonna be in the MVP conversation.
Yeah, he is because
unless they just start blowing teams out like this and he only gets 10 shots. He only had 14 points tonight. But if he keeps putting up the numbers he's putting and their defense is like this, man, he's going to be in the conversation. Now, ultimately, for them to succeed in the playoffs, this Tobias Harris that's been playing at the beginning of this year is going to have to be the guy who plays all year. They're going to need this in the playoffs from Tobias Harris, or still they probably can't win deep. They're going to win a ton of regular season games, like I said. But Harris has to play the way he's been playing, which is pretty great.
Yeah. And I think I said it before the season started. By far, the best basketball Tobias Harris has ever played in the NBA was under Doc Rivers.
I forgot that. Yeah.
So maybe there's just something about the scheme that Doc Rivers runs that unlocks Tobias Harris and makes him as comfortable as he can be.
Well, that actually, that's good. That kind of takes me into my question, right?
Okay.
So great coaches like Thibodeau or my guy Steve Clifford down in Orlando or Spo or like a Rick these guys, they understand the strengths and the limitations of their best players, and they know what positions to put their players in to succeed on the court. So my question to you was, what would the upside of this team have been if they got rid of Brett Brown like 2 or 3 years ago and brought in a coach like this? I mean, it could have changed everything. It would have been totally different. Like,
Man,
I just watching this team with a coach who, by all accounts, we talked about it, failed in the playoffs. But I watched this team and I'm like, this is a totally different team already. And I know that, you swapped out some players like Seth Curry and Danny Green, but ultimately it's just they're playing different basketball right now.
I'm just gonna highlight recency bias here because look, they looked horrible last season with Brett Brown, but the year before that, when they had JJ Redick, they had Jimmy Butler in there. They lost in Game 7 on a miraculous shot to the eventual NBA champions. They looked great. They were playing very good basketball under Brett Brown. And then we get Elton Brand doing a little bit too much. We sign Al Horford. The pieces just flat out don't fit. So, yeah, I'm going to defend Brett Brown here and say I don't know what would have happened if he was coaching this roster right now I'd like to think that there would be similar results.
They'd be 3-4.
Okay. It's an unfalsifiable statement. We can't know that for sure.
They would be 3-4. It's just a.
How am I supposed to refute? I don't know. What
there's no refuting it. It's just true.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're in the. We could argue that the rest of the podcast if we want.
But no, they're playing good. That's part of why I wanted to see the Nets and the Sixers, because I wanted to see this defense against a really good offensive team.
Look, I gotta say, I was not high on the Doc Rivers hire, and right now they look excellent. This is the best they've looked in the. It's pretty close to the best they've looked in the Embiid Simmons era, and that's hats off to him. But I do this season for the Sixers is going to be about the playoffs. We knew they were a good team. We just don't know exactly how good. So.
Well, but I would say that before the season, a lot of people probably, and still might think that a lot of people probably thought they were bottom half of the playoffs in the East. And the way they're playing right now, they could be a top half team.
Yeah.
I don't think before the season you would have picked them to finish ahead of Brooklyn, Miami, Boston, or Milwaukee.
No, I would not have. Maybe Brooklyn because of how low I was on Brooklyn going into the season. But.
You still might not pick them to finish ahead of those guys, but they look like, because of the way they're playing defense right now.
Yeah, that they're contenders in there.
That they could be in that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that conversation, Celtics, the Raptors. Good God, the Raptors. The Celtics beat the Raptors 126, 114. I don't even, the funny thing is, I don't even think it was that close. And the Raptors opened up the game. They made their first 6 threes. Their first 6 field goals were threes. They made all 6 of them. They were up. What was their biggest lead here? The Raptors were up 13. I thought they were up more than that. But I thought they were up like 15 in the first quarter. And then it was over. And they just, Jason Tatum had 40. My guy Peyton Pritchard comes off the bench, 23 points, 8 assists. I guess now he's Kendrick Perkins' guy. But before he was Kendrick Perkins' guy, he was my guy.
Yeah.
23 on 8 of 13. They didn't. So the Raptors get out to a 13-point lead in the first quarter, and the Celtics don't have Kemba, Jeff Teague, or Marcus Smart. And Celtics, Jason Tatum's just like, okay, so I'll just drop 40, and you guys suck. And they got 35 from Fred VanVleet.
It's ridiculous. The fall of this team is, they're just not any good, dude. Aaron Baines stinks. Aaron Baines is a solid backup center, right? I keep that comment you said where someone on Twitter was like, I'm starting to think Aaron Baines is not a
He's just a solid backup.
Yeah, that's exactly what he is, right? This team has no legitimate rim protector. Their best offensive threat is 5'4". Pascal Siakam is, we saw what he was in the playoffs against good teams. He's not a max player.
Raptors I would say this right now. I'm going to go out. This is my hot take for the episode. I've seen enough of Peyton Pritchard at this point that I would rather have Peyton Pritchard because of the money on my team than Fred VanVleet.
Okay. Value. So value. Yes. Yeah, I'm with you in terms of value.
They are both backup guards. Well, 2 guards. Fred VanVleet's a backup because they have Kyle. He shouldn't be starting as your 2 guard. Is my point, I guess. He's probably a starting point guard at this point in his career, but he's not worth the money.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, the money is the kicker. They overpaid him. Siakam is clearly overpaid. I'm not convinced. OG Anunoby, is he just going to average 10 points his whole career? I don't understand.
Pretty much, yeah.
So how do you give that guy $20 million a year? It's rough. It's rough what's going on there, man. I don't think Nick Nurse can save them.
Well, the question is, who can save them? Because I don't know that there's a move to be made. Can they blow it up? Will anybody take on their contracts?
Well, that's the craziest part is it looks like they've identified their cornerstones and paid them, and they're not any good. So, a lot of really bad teams at least still have that flexibility of, they haven't committed to cornerstones yet. Maybe they have a guy coming up that they're going to pay, but Siakam, Anunoby, and VanVleet are the cornerstones of this team right now. It's pretty ugly.
Didn't Masai Ujiri turn down $100 million in like equity in the Wizards or something.
I don't know.
I remember like when
kinda
they were.
remember something like
there
that.
was some report. I remember when they were looking for a GM. They were going to offer him equity in the team to come be their GM, and he stayed. He stayed in Toronto. Oof.
It really does seem like, I know there are fantastic general managers, but the more and more in sports in general, I think a lot of general managing is a crapshoot. You can get lucky with the perfect trade or a couple of moves.
Well, of course. I mean, look, Masai is a great. He's been great for them up until right now. They're an absolute mess. But how great would we be calling? How would we consider Masai Ujiri one of the greatest GMs in the sport if Kawhi Leonard wasn't a disgruntled player? Because
Right.
if
Kinda
Kawhi Leonard liked being in San Antonio, then Masai Ujiri never wins a championship.
Yeah.
So, like,
And look-
it's to your point, it's a total crapshoot because if they just have to stick with DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, then they're getting knocked out in the playoffs every year.
Right.
And you don't get the opportunity to trade for guys like Kawhi. It just doesn't happen. And he wouldn't have chosen to go to Toronto.
Now,
So-
it took some balls to trade away DeRozan when you knew what you had. DeRozan and Lowry worked for a guy with injury question marks. So I'll tip my hat there.
Well, I think the balls was not knowing whether he would stay, and he didn't stay. They
Yeah.
just happened to win a title.
Right.
You know,
which
like
was amazing.
no, the genius stuff that he did was like going out and getting Serge Ibaka, trading for Marc Gasol in the middle of the year. Like he made the right moves during the year, that whole year. Like every move just boom. He went on a run of like trades and free agency pickups that was just unprecedented in building a single season championship team. But again, to the thing about it being a crapshoot, if Kawhi Leonard doesn't hate playing in San Antonio and fakes an injury and forces his way out,
Oh, fakes an injury.
then Masai is looked at as a good GM, but not a guy who a team would offer equity.
Yes.
So
That is my point. Thank you for making my own point better than I did. It's pretty much exactly what I'm saying.
And to your point about him having balls to trade DeRozan, like I just don't know that there was a lot of teams who had the right package of players to get Kawhi. Like you have to have an all-star level player that you're willing to part ways with.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, but it is a crapshoot. Although there are like a handful of GMs who are consistently good.
Yeah, no, that's what I led the point off with for sure. I mean, there's guys like Pat Riley, and I mean, I might lump Danny Ainge in there. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I mean, they're good.
Yeah.
People hate on him, but he won a championship, traded away all those guys, and got back 50 first-round picks, and has turned all of that into two top 10 players who are both like 23 and 24 years old, or 22 and 23. So, yeah, he's ruthless, and he's probably an asshole, and players, it seems like the word is getting out a little bit that they don't love him because of the way he's treated some of those guys. But it's a pretty damn good team.
The team's
and it's a scary team when you look at like any free agent, unless they just don't want to be in Boston or don't want to play for Danny. Like any free agent's got to look at that team and be like, why wouldn't I want to go play with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown? And that's a championship level team eventually.
Yep.
I mean, they've been on the brink twice already.
Oh, they're knocking on the door for sure.
Yeah, they just got to be healthy. And I'm just. I mean, I know that they said Kemba wasn't going to be back till January anyway, so we'll see what happens when he comes back. But they got Peyton Pritchard though. Yeah. I saw some Celtics fans on the Twitter that were like, just start Peyton Pritchard to bring Kemba off the bench as a spark. It would be great for the bench. Okay. People on Twitter,
that old Twitter,
specifically like team Twitters, like team fan Twitters.
Yeah.
Like where it's just like fans of the teams just going back and forth with each other with their absurd theories of what should happen with the team. It's just like, it's funny to just dive in there every now and then, right? To just
I'm
like,
guilty of it. I
just
do
like
sometimes.
Tatum goes for 40, just type Celtics into Twitter and then just like lose 2 hours of your life.
Yeah.
Or like last night when Steph went for 62, just type in Steph Curry, and just the rest.
I do that with Ben Simmons like once a week, honestly.
Yeah.
Just to see.
Yeah. Speaking of a fan base that is pretty absurd on Twitter, the Heat beat the Thunder 118-90. Not much to say, obviously, about the Thunder here. We say the same thing every game. This is how it's going to be. Congratulations, Thunder fans. You asked for it, you got it. As far as the Heat, this is just a good. They have not been good early in the year. Turning the ball.
The turnovers are wild. They lead the league. It's crazy.
Yeah, they lead the league in turnovers, and they even early in this game they were getting some silly turnovers. But they shot the shit out of the ball tonight. 16 of 34 from three. Another new starting, like their sixth, I think, different starting lineup this season. But this one worked. Of course, it worked against the worst team in the NBA. But it's good. I mean, I think you need to have a game like this against a bad team where you just see the ball. This was one of the best three-point shooting teams in the NBA last year, and they have not been shooting the ball well at the beginning of the year. And now, 16 of 34. Duncan Robinson hit 4 threes. Kelly Olynyk went off. But it's a good win for them. Not much to take away from it other than you just need to have games like this to try to get your offense going.
Yeah. This wasn't Jimmy Butler's first game back, right? It was second?
Second, but he was awful last game. So this was one of my bets. This was actually one of my bets. I took them -8 because I thought they've been playing bad. Jimmy Butler was bad, and Jimmy Butler was going to come out and just put on a show. He is the most infuriating superstar on the planet, dude. I can't take it. I understand there was a blowout. He still only took 12 shots. Like, it's so and when he goes to score, they can't stop. They just can't stop him. He gets into the paint, and either gets a layup or he has they bite on his pump fake in the paint every time, or he gets that little fall away. Like, he could score at will, and he just refuses. He just refuses.
Very strange. It is very strange. You watch a lot more Heat than me, but I mean,
it's infuriating. He even took 2 threes tonight,
mm-hmm.
and he was 6 of 12. I mean, they didn't need it tonight, so it's fine. But it's more just like he only played 25 minutes too. But it's just infuriating, just the opportunities that I see where he has a guy one-on-one, and this is what NBA basketball is. It's like getting your best player in a position to be one-on-one against a defender who cannot guard him one-on-one. He is in that position a lot and just does not take advantage of it. It's infuriating to watch. They won by 28, so can't be that mad about it.
No, yeah, I brought up Jimmy Butler just to say, like, this is a great game to get him rolling against just a horrible team,
Yeah.
So I thought it was his first game back, but second, got it.
Yeah. But you know what is fascinating to watch? Tyler Hero rebounding.
Yeah,
he crashes the glass. Like he's athletic and he is going after it, man. Like he almost had a triple double and only had 7 points. 7 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. Like he really attacks the glass for a guard. It's like he's all over it. He's all over it.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna hurt Bam's numbers because of how
he's going
well
to take away his double numbers for sure.
Yeah, the way he's rebounding the ball, it's crazy.
But it helps them because it helps them get out in transition. The one game I saw where he had like 15, he had something
14,
stupid.
I think.
Yeah. I mean he was rebounding with a purpose to push it. It's really good.
Yeah, the Thunder stink, man. Like the Heat just got into the paint like at will. They scored 52 points in the paint, and they probably could have had 70.
Are you telling me Al Horford was not providing much protection around the rim there?
Yeah, good, solid win for the Heat, but not like not really like an important one. These are the ones. The good thing, like for a game like that, is they have to win those games. Like, you have to
just
win
make it easy on yourself.
Well, win and blow, and they can't be close. You got to blow teams like that out, and so it's good they did that. Let's do Pelicans Pacers. That was a good one.
Yeah, I thought this is where you were going to go with best game of the night because this is a great game.
Well, I didn't say whether was it. I didn't say what was the best game of the night.
I guess you teed up the Knicks as if they had just made.
Well, they're the best team in New York.
Got it.
They're by far. Well, here's the thing. Also, let's just talk about production and producing a podcast and a live stream.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna make a thumbnail and like a caption about basketball, just a random night, what's gonna grab people's attention more? Pacers beat the Pelicans in overtime, or the Knicks are the best team in New York? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
we're trying to draw all 2 of our viewers in right now. So that's where I went. And I also think the Knicks are more interesting. Both of these Pacers end up winning in overtime, 118-116. But this was the game of the night. But, well, maybe the finish of the night.
Finish of the night. Fourth quarter in overtime.
Because actually the Knicks beating the Hawks was a really good game.
Yeah.
But this was the finish of the night. But both of these teams are good. There's nothing surprising here to me. In fact, the best thing about this game was I had my Pacers +1.
Ooh.
So
very nice.
So basically, I had the Pacers to win.
Yeah.
But so for those of you who didn't see the game, the Pacers were down 6 with 20 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Victor Oladipo came down, nailed a 3. They pressured. The ball gets inbounded to J.J. Redick. They double him. He passes it to Lonzo, who fumbles the ball trying to get it up court because they're going to get an 8-second call. They turn it over. The ball gets kicked out to Miles Turner, who nails a 3 with 6.9 seconds left. So they scored 6 points in 14 seconds to tie it up. And then it went to overtime. And then Malcolm Brogdon hit a game winner with 3 seconds left or 2 seconds left in overtime. It was a pretty wild game.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing was that they didn't start, Zion didn't start overtime. He didn't come in until 2.5 minutes left in overtime, and they were down by 4 or 5, and he came right in, went right to the rim, got an and one, and then they ended up tying the game when he came back in. It was very weird.
That's bizarre. Why do you think? A matchup thing, or?
I didn't watch the whole game. I only was able to watch the fourth quarter and overtime, so I don't know if it was just they thought it was a better matchup.
I mean, he just looking at the plus minus, he's plus 18. Nobody else is even close to that, so It's not like.
Yeah, maybe they thought having Ingram at Steven Adams to guard Miles Turner, I guess, and then having Ingram at the 4 was a little more flexibility. I don't know. It struck me as odd.
Yeah.
And then they lose. So
maybe he had to take a shit. Honestly,
no, he was on the bench. I was looking at the bench what's going on here? I thought he fouled out or he got hurt or something. No, he's just sitting there, But hey, sometimes you just gotta that he knows what's best for his team. So.
Well, he didn't in this case, though, is the problem, because they lost. But
that's true. They did. They lost.
I'm trying to get a gauge. So the reason I love this game, and I wish I would have gotten it and been able to watch it, is because these are two teams I just don't. I know they're good, but I don't know how good. The Pacers are really, really impressing me in the first 7 games, and I'm wondering if they're a top 4 team in the East. I don't know. And
I'm going to tell you exactly how good both these teams are right now.
Let me hear it.
They are both good enough to lose in the second round of the playoffs.
Okay.
Now, Pelicans might not make it to the second round of the playoffs this year because of the West. Because they're probably going to be bottom half of the West, and I don't think they're beating one of the top half teams. But the Pacers could finish in the top half of the East. They did last year, and they're better this year. So
I'm intrigued by I'm intrigued by both teams, but I'm intrigued by the Pacers because I just did not think they were going to get off to this hot of a start. I just did not know Sabonis was this legit. Oladipo looks to be healthy. I'm just wondering if they've got a really good 80 or 72 game season coming here. I agree. They're I'd be stunned if they got out of the second round, but they're a lot better than I thought.
Yeah,
that's
if
point,
Oladipo, really. I'll tell you this though: if Oladipo is back to pre-injury Oladipo, they could make a run.
Yeah, that's kind of what
he was an absolute All NBA player before he got hurt.
Mm-hmm. And now he has a number. Sabonis is this dude's out of his mind right now. Malcolm Brogdon, fantastic. Technically a role player, right?
No, he's not a role player, man. Look at what happened to the Bucks when they lost him. That guy, he might be one of the most underrated players in the NBA.
I'm leaning that way. 46 minutes tonight. He was fantastic.
He is the ideal NBA point guard. He's the perfect point guard in the NBA. He doesn't demand the ball. He's not a ball dominant point guard, but he's smart. He gets you set up. He is an great shooter. He was 50-40-90 the year before he came to the Pacers. And he could score at all three levels. I mean, he just does, and he defends. He's 6'5". He can defend ones, twos, threes. Like, he's the ideal point guard. But he's never going to be an all-star probably. I mean, I guess with his numbers, he could be pushing all-star level. But he's like right there on that. He's like, you know what he is? I think his upside is like a little bit better Mike Conley.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike Conley never made an all-star team. But
Right,
he was not a ball dominant point guard. But he was a really good shooter who defended and was super smart.
I'm with that.
But
see
Brogdon is also like at least 2 inches taller.
Yeah, maybe I'm overrating Mike Conley because of that gargantuan contract that he
Right.
lived up to. Yeah.
He took his team to the playoffs. They won some playoff games, but he was never an all-star. Now he played in the West, but he was never an all-star, and he had somehow got the largest contract in NBA history.
Yeah.
So that's sort of what I see Brogdon as. It's like a really, really high level, on the brink of the all-star level point guard, but perfect for a winning team.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Which is why when the Bucks got rid of him, I was just like, God, what the hell?
That was a misstep. That was a big one.
Yeah. Or let him walk. They didn't get rid of him. I guess they didn't have a choice. All right, let's move on from this game. Good win for the Pacers, though, in overtime. You watched this one, Luka, 33-point triple-double for Luka.
Yeah, so
what happened here? You texted me going into the fourth, basically like, I'm hoping to see a Luka explosion here.
Yeah, so the Mavericks, when I finally got it on, Mavericks were up Mavericks were up 5, but it looked like Rockets were about to make a move. And Luka was having like a solid game, not an incredible game up to that point. Although he did finish with 8 turnovers, but
right.
I don't know. A bunch of stuff came out recently about Luka's like physical fitness and like do you see JJ Barea had some comments about like he's still a kid in terms of his like dedication to like his body and off season and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was just interested.
There's also like I talked about it a little bit on the show yesterday. Like he's showing his maturity a little bit too. Like he's got some anger issues. The other day he like kicked a table and broke the LED lights.
Right.
And he complains about everything, but like very animated.
Right.
So interesting.
So yeah, I mean, it seems like he's going through some stuff. You know, like last year in the playoffs, he was literally like bulletproof. Like the guy couldn't do anything wrong. You know, and I'm on board. My big takeaway from this game is like I'm not worried about Luka Doncic after this game. I know it's the Rockets. My big concern for the Mavericks is just all about getting Porzingis back. But if Porzingis comes back healthy, this team is going to be right back where they were. Maybe upsetting, like pulling off an upset in the playoffs. I don't know. But Luka took over. He finished with 33, 16 boards, 11 assists. He did have the 8 turnovers. But
you got to wonder, though. I mean, you do have to wonder with a guy like Luka, who, although he's been playing at the highest level since he was like 17, he dominated a bunch of grown-ass men in the EuroLeague. Comes over Rookie of the Year, averages whatever last year. But now there's like a different thing, right? Now he's the future face of the most popular league on the planet, right? So you got to wonder at what point, what's he, 20?
I think he's 21 now.
21-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. Like
that's a ton. And especially because he's got to win.
Really, honestly, if you really think about it, the last time that we basically crowned a 20-year-old kid as the future of the game was LeBron.
Yep.
And there's very few people who could handle what LeBron has been able to handle throughout his career. So now we get to learn because we did it. A lot of people have done it. Even LeBron, to an extent, when he said that he wanted to sign Luka to Team LeBron when he was going to start. There's a thought process that Luka's the next guy. Like, he's the next, and he's 21 years old.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see. Like, we haven't done that with anybody since LeBron. So we'll see. Will it get to him? It's an interesting thing to follow.
It definitely could. I just think that I do wonder if, I mean, everybody dealt with the pandemic, obviously, right? But I wonder if this is the first time in this dude's life since he was 12 that he was not playing basketball every single day. You know what I mean? And that just points to him getting out of shape and stuff like that. So
yeah, but that wouldn't point to the complaining constantly and
right. But I mean,
yelling at the refs. And he has taken, like, I know LeBron complains a lot, but I watched Luka. The last game I watched Luka, man, he takes the complaining to like an art form. Like, it's constant, dude.
Really, I did not see the game you're referring to. I know he does, but he hasn't. Like, it hasn't gotten to like astronomical levels to me from what I've seen. So I'm gonna look out for that next time I watch him.
Maybe it's not every game. Maybe he was just really frustrated in that game I watched. But I've seen other people talk about how much he complains.
Basically, they just need to get Porzingis back and get this team healthy, because it would just be a shame. I mean, he's in his third year now. He looks like he's ready to win. It would just suck if his second best player, isn't there for him consistently. So,
right. But then here's the thing. But this is the way it works, right? With professional sports, especially. I mean, I know sometimes in the NFL these kind of things, these conversations happen, but even Steph Curry, right, who we're going to talk about in a second, that game just ended. Steph struggles for 3 games, right? 4 games. What's the talk on Twitter? What are the fans and the media talking about? Steph can't do it without good players. LeBron did it without good players the whole beginning of his career. Look at this team that LeBron took to the championship, right? So what's going to happen what if Porzingis is never fully healthy, right? And this team's just not very good. Then the conversation's going to turn to, well, we said Luka was the face of the NBA and he can't carry a decent team to being good. Like, LeBron did it, so maybe he's not the next guy. Like, that's going to happen.
Oh, that's going to happen if they don't win, for sure. Yeah.
Right, even without Porzingis. Mm-hmm. So it's just, we're setting the kid up. I mean, he seems like the guy who might be able to handle it. We're setting him up for something. We'll see. Like,
the one thing that is clear is that he's a special talent. The guy is like, he's in the Matrix out there. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, he's.
I'm holding out hope.
No, I'm not like writing him off.
No, I know.
It's
when I say holding out hope, I mean for Porzingis to get back healthy, so this team
right.
can do what I think it can do, which is contend in the West.
Right. But, as far as the Rockets, before we move on, I kind of just think this is how it's going to be all year. Like, they're going to win, lose,
up and down.
They're just going to be sort of up and down. James Harden only took 17 shots, 3 of 11 from 3.
Yeah, I mean, this is a bad game for James Harden.
Yeah.
And if that happens, the Rockets are going to lose every single time. Yeah. If James Harden has a bad game, they're going to lose.
All right,
Christian Wood's really good, though. Sorry, that's the last thing I'll say.
He is. We'll talk about them more when they win a game.
Okay.
Let's run through the last 3 games. By the way, Giannis just had a cool 43 tonight. We're not even talking about it. It's like, that's the type of games that we had tonight, though. Like,
they were 16-point favorites. I mean, that is unheard of in the NBA. They didn't cover. They crushed the Pistons by 10, but they did not cover.
Yeah, well, 16 points is fucking stupid.
I know, it's insane. That's how bad this. That's why we should not spend any time on this game.
Yeah, no, we're not. But we can't just gloss over Giannis dropping 43. But like, in a night where, like, the Knicks are the best team in New York, the Sixers have the best record in the NBA. Jason Tatum goes for 40, and the Raptors are 1-5. Steph Curry, what did he finish with? Probably 60. Luka has a 30-point triple-double. This is actually just more of a sign that I think there's already the Giannis fatigue. Like, okay,
definitely cool. Regular season fatigue, yeah.
Giannis got 43 in the regular season against a bad team. Cool.
The thing we do have to say about the Bucks, though, very quickly, is they are shooting the 3 ball so well. I think they have the best percentage in the league. I don't think it's sustainable, but what they did in the offseason, the roster makes more sense around Giannis.
Yeah.
With
Dante DiVincenzo has fallen
he's
back to life a little bit.
What did he do tonight? Yeah, he was second in the league in 3-point percentage entering tonight.
1 for 6. So. Probably partially from that Heat game where he was just like hitting walk up threes from the logo.
Yeah.
Magic beat the Cavs. So you basically jinxed the Cavs.
Yeah.
By saying,
although Kevin Love has not played since I made that decree that they might not be.
And also Darius Garland didn't play, and Dante Exum got hurt in the first minute. So, when you don't have Dante Exum, how do you expect to compete against the Magic?
Right. I mean, if you're
This is where we're at in the NBA.
right.
This is the point. We're already at this point in the season where we're like, Dante Exum didn't play, so the Cavs lost by 20.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
All right.
You got
We don't
Colin
need to talk.
Sexton could be the real deal. He's playing great.
Playing good. A lot of turnovers, but I had him at FanDuel, so I was focusing on him.
The
But,
turnovers killed you then.
yeah. I just don't like the Magic are kind of boring to talk about all the time. It's not really a whole lot interesting about them. All right, the last game of the night just ended. The Kings and the Warriors. So this was one of my bets last night too. I took the Kings. I think it was plus 4.5, and the reason was so that game last night, the 62-point game Steph Curry had, was their second game in a row against the Blazers. And the first game, the Blazers beat them. If you remember what I said about these games, like playing the same team twice in 3 nights, that in the second, it's always going to be hard to beat that team twice in a row. So I was not bought in on the Warriors coming into this game. I just thought, like, okay, Steph had the best game of his career, and I think they only still won by 15.
Mm-hmm.
I was wrong. They beat the fucking brakes off the Kings.
They destroyed them, yeah.
And Steph went 9 of 18, 5 of 12 from 3, and had 30. Kelly Oubre, probably his best game as on the Warriors, 4 of 6 from 3. He had 18. And I got to give you credit, even though he can't score. So I don't know how long he can like it's wild to me that there's a guy on the floor for this team that just literally can't score. But Draymond he just can't score. Like, he is not a threat to score, but he still makes their offense better. It's very strange.
He's such a good passer, man. I mean, I know you know that, but I mean,
and defensively, they're a different team with him. He really is making an impact. I didn't think he would come back and make an impact that quickly, but they're 4-3. They're 5th in the West. I have this theory. That I thought of as I was watching the game.
All right, I'm listening.
Steve Kerr set up the first 3 or 4 games for the Warriors to look like complete dog shit, to lock Steph Curry in for MVP. He created the narrative, right? He created this narrative. Steph can't do it on his own. Steph's not good without other stars. Steve Kerr created that narrative. And then he went to Steph and he's like, "You ready?" And now
so
Steph's...
You think Steph was in on it or no?
And now Steph's second in the NBA in scoring, and they're 5th in the West.
I'm going to go on the record and say I do not agree with your theory. And it is interesting.
It's a sympathy MVP. If he's in the top 2 or 3 in scoring in the NBA and they're a top 5 team in the West somehow, he's getting MVP.
And I think he actually is going to be in the top 2 of scoring for sure. Because I mean,
then he will get MVP if they're
a playoff team.
If they're if they're like a top 4 team in the West somehow, which I don't think they will be. But
that's going to be
what?
That's going to be nearly impossible, right? I mean, yes,
well,
he will get
Nuggets,
MVP if that
the Nuggets
happens,
seemingly can't win a game.
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix, I mean, who outside of the top 2 teams, everything's a crapshoot in the West. So, yes, I don't think they're going to be a top 4 team in the West. But the after the Lakers and the Clippers, I think everything's sort of a crapshoot right now.
Okay, fair.
So they created this narrative so that Steph would be guaranteed MVP.
But you actually seem like you believe this, that Steve Kerr rigged the first 3 games.
Well, he created he created the situation.
Okay.
Draymond, just don't play.
We're gonna be so bad for these first 3 games.
Kelly, I know you can shoot, but like, just only dunk for the first 3 games. Hey, the only thing that he is not faking is that Andrew Wiggins looks like a person who does not know how to play basketball.
Maybe Andrew Wiggins missed the memo that the gig is up, and he's
no. He was just like, Andrew, do your thing. He's like, do what you do, do what you do, big guy. And then he was like, and then he went to Bob Myers, and he's like, Bob, can you do me a favor? Can you just find like 3 or 4 guys I could bring off the bench that don't even sound like NBA players? He's like, I got this guy Juan Toscano Anderson and this other guy Michael Mulder. And Kerr's like, perfect. Steph's definitely getting MVP.
It's a shame they can't sell tickets during this because I would. This Steph revenge tour looks. Oh man, that 62 was so electric.
It's like, he's like, Bob, can I play Kent Bazemore 15 minutes a game? I have this idea. And now they're 4-3.
4-3 and in playoff position.
Surging 10% of the way through the season.
Yep. 9.2.
We would be remiss in talking about this game if we did not talk about the Marvin Bagley situation, which is that his dad tweeted yesterday asking the team to trade him. And at some point, Darren Fox's dad also sent out a tweet that just said, trade him. And then Marvin Bagley, Luke Walton was asked about it and said, we don't listen to that stuff, blah, 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 whatever. And then Marvin Bagley went 2 for 9 in 24 minutes and had 5 points. I read a stat before the game from a Kings reporter that coming into the game, Marvin Bagley was 10 of 24 on layups this year.
That is bad. Okay, I'd probably get most of them rejected. So no, I won't make that claim that I could have a better percentage than that. But
weren't you the one saying that in an NBA game you would hit a corner three or something?
Yeah, no, I said I can knock down a corner three. I can knock down an open corner three.
Okay, got it.
I can. Also, Luke Walton's got to be sitting there like, can I get the fuck away from people's dads? Like, isn't he the one that had to put up with the Ball in the Lakers? LeVar Ball was saying all this stuff his first couple of years. Like
he did crush Luke Walton. Yeah. I gotta say this, man. I know I talk a lot of shit about Hassan Whiteside.
Mm-hmm.
If it's possible, he's regressed. Like he's even worse than he was before. In the 11, like I don't even understand how he's on the court. He looks so slow, so unathletic, and I don't understand how this guy's still getting minutes. And then they're throwing Kyle Guy out there, who seems like a nice dude, but does not.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah, there you go. It just doesn't seem like.
All right, I got
the Kings just can't get out of their own way.
I've got
they've to their credit, they've played 7 games now. They're 3-4, I think, and they've had 2 games against the Nuggets, 2 games against the Suns, 2 games against the Rockets, and now this Warriors game. So their schedule has been super hard. So the fact that they even have a few wins is amazing to me because they're the Kings. They've had a really hard schedule, so I'll give them credit for that.
How many minutes did Hassan Whiteside play tonight?
11, basically 12.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Then that ruins my nugget that I was going to drop on you. But entering this game, their only wins came in games where Hassan Whiteside played more than 10 minutes. But that's a small sample size, we know. But that golden streak has ended tonight. Hassan Whiteside is not...
Yeah, he's regressing back to the mean.
Yeah.
And below it.
Dude, I think this team misses Tyrese Halliburton. The guy can play, man, and
was his only game that he's missed, right?
I thought he missed didn't he get hurt early in the other one? I don't know.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I've bet on the Kings way too many times already in this season, which is just dumb. I got so mesmerized by the fact that they beat the Nuggets twice this year that I'm just like, okay, maybe they're a legit team. It's the same thing as like betting on the Knicks the other day. Just early season NBA stuff, you know?
I know.
It's like you get caught up in some of these early season wins, and you just like then you remember you're like, oh yeah, these guys are the Knicks of the West. Like you can't bet on the Kings; they're a shit show. Now here's the thing: seeing what Bagley's done in his first few years, seeing what he's doing this year, would you trade for Bagley? Like if you were a team that if you were the Miami Heat, who don't really have a 4.
No, if I was the Heat, no.
If you could get him for nothing, basically.
Oh, if you could get him for nothing?
For a second round. If you could get him for a second round pick.
Yeah. Oh, I'd bring him into the mix. Yeah. I thought you meant to help.
Well, I don't think his value is about as low as it's ever going to be right now. His dad's tweeting for him to be traded. He's 10 of 14 on layups. I don't think that you're going to have to give up much to get this guy.
Right. Which is, if I'm the Kings, I'm not trading. There's no shot I'm trading Marvin Bagley right now. I mean, you're going to get back nothing, so why not just keep him and see what happens? You know what I mean?
Well, what if he's like ruining? What if he's like dropping mixtapes about how he hates everyone on the? He's a rapper.
Well, I mean, you're the Kings, and your chemistry is already non-existent. So who cares? You know, I don't know.
Like if you were a team that needed size, I would trade for him. If it was for like a second round pick, I would give it a shot.
Definitely, I would trade for him if it was a second round pick.
What about a protected first?
No, probably not. Depending on what team I am.
Lottery protected. What if it was a lottery protected first?
Maybe. I mean, the upside, we know about the upside's there. I mean, there's no denying the upside. So if it's lottery protected, sure.
So then the highest it could be is 15, and you're getting a guy who was the second overall pick.
Mm-hmm. And is still only, 22, something like that?
Everything's about situation.
21.
Situation changes a lot of things in the NBA. You just never know. This place has been terrible for a lot of players.
The guy I'm worried about is Buddy Hield. I want Buddy Hield out of there pronto. He's just.
Did you see any of this game?
I just saw entering the fourth. He had like barely shot at all. He only took 12 shots.
Did you see him?
No.
I feel like he looks a little chubby.
Oh really?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe he's just a thick dude now. But I don't know. He kind of looked a little chubby to me.
Huh, I'll look out for that. I did see him tonight in the highlights, so I did not notice any chunkiness.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just caught it a weird angle.
Weird angle, yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's it for tonight's recap. So I went 2-1 tonight. I had the Heat -8. I had the Pacers +1, and then I lost this game. You want to do our bets for tonight for Tuesday night real quick?
Yep. I gotta log into my account here.
Yeah, there was only a few lines available, but there's only 5 games.
Yeah, there was only I only saw 3 lines available on mine, and I actually like a couple of them. So if that's not encouraging, I don't know what is. I'll start.
I like some.
I like some of these that I put my own hard-earned money on. I'm gonna go with the Bulls +10 against Portland. And I'm starting to
I'm not sure.
Alexa, if you ever interrupt me again, we're going to have big problems.
That was very... That scared the shit out of me.
That was bizarre. Okay. Chicago Bulls +10.
Alexa's like, you don't spend your hard-earned money on anything but me.
Like, did I say anything that sounded like... I can't even say it now, or she's going to say something. Okay. All right, moving on.
That would scare me. You should probably sleep with one eye
It's happened before, and it's troublesome. But we're all screwed. Robots are going to enslave the human race within 25 years anyway. That's a different podcast, I'm sure. But
okay.
The NBA is so unpredictable right now. Portland is not a team that I feel, is worthy of 10 points in an NBA game. I mean, I know they're better than the Bulls, but I like this Bulls +10 pick. Lakers -9 because they're playing one of the teams you labeled as possibly bottom 2 in the league right now without their boy Ja Morant. So I'm going to go Lakers -9. It's a lot, but Lakers should stomp that team. And then the Nuggets, who when you did mention your worst teams in the league, I think you left out the Minnesota Timberwolves without Cat. They are
playing like that, yeah.
Brutal. And we know the Nuggets. I mean, we're 9.2% of the way through the season. Nuggets can't mess around. They have to get wins, and they need them now. So I think they crush Minnesota tonight.
There's something you're forgetting about with these lines and your picks. Well, not totally.
I think I applied what you're about to say to one and not to
National
the
Blowout
other
Association.
Yeah.
Well, okay. That's okay. So those are your picks. My only pick that I have for sure, I'm thinking about if I have another one, is...
Well, you have to do two.
That's true. So let me think about it. The line is not out yet, but I'm just going to take it, whatever it is. Utah with the spread, whatever the number is, I'm going to take because Kevin Durant's out. The Nets already were not playing defense. They already have lost 4 or 5. Now KD's out for the next 4 games. Utah's playing decent basketball, and they're a really good defensive team. So I don't anticipate – now, probably the reason why there's no number is because Vegas is figuring out what the number is going to be now that they know KD's not playing.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like the number's not going to be huge because had KD been playing, they would be the favorite.
Right. So it's going to swing
So
several
it's going to
points.
swing, but is it going to swing 15 points and make Utah like a -10? No. It probably swings. Actually, it probably swings like 8 points or so, and they probably end up like -4.5, -5.
All right,
which
so
I'm
we
fine
need an official ruling. You're saying the line when it opens, that's when you're locked in.
Whatever
Whatever it opens at.
whatever I see it at first and make my bet. Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever it opens at.
Copy.
That's my one bet for tomorrow, and then my other one. These all suck, man. These lines are absurd at this point of the year. Fucking 12 points.
Portland getting 10 is insane to me. That's just
Denver getting 12 is a lot. I know they're a good team, but they have actually been struggling quite a bit this year. They're
Yeah.
2-4. And like Minnesota's bad too. They've been playing bad without Cat, but they also have multiple guys who could just go get 30 tomorrow night. Like D'Angelo Russell still hasn't played well for them. Malik Beasley can go get I'm going to take T-Wolves plus 12.
okay. Yeah, 12's. I mean, yeah.
It's just such a big number. It's hard
For the record, I got Denver at -11.5. So
That's fine. On my site that I'm looking at. Yeah, I'm going to go T-Wolves plus 12. And I got to tell you, I'm not happy about it.
no, you
I'm
don't
not
look
happy.
about
This is my rule that I set. You have to do 2 bets a night. But I'm only going with those 2 because what a terrible slate.
it. Not a good slate.
What are we going to talk about tomorrow? Ugh. Basketball. All right. Well, this will give you a chance to catch up because I'm only doing 2 games.
Okay.
I'm
yeah.
14-8, by the way. No, I'm 14-9. I'm
I think
14-9. You're 10-10.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with this 500 mark, and I think I'll go at least 2-1 tomorrow. Bust into above 500 territory. Officially be making some kashish.
There it is
Thank you.
for the viewers. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty confident about my Jazz pick for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go 1-1 and I'm 15-10 after, halfway 2.5 weeks of the NBA season, I'll be pretty happy too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll find out tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow night, probably same time ish. All right.
Yep.
Later.
Later.